So I do a lot of mentorship. And one of the things I get asked the most is how did you go from being a stay-at-home mom, military spouse, to working in big tech? That journey took me 3 years. And in that time, I learned so many different lessons that now I'm passionate about making sure people don't make the same mistakes. Um, I should say, have the same learning experiences, because none of them turned out to be mistakes and they all add value to where I am today. So the first thing I would tell you is, if you're a military spouse, is to embrace what you've done in your time away from work. Really fall in love. I always said fall in love with the career gap, and that took me a very long time to do. I think had I done that early, it would have boosted a lot of confidence, and I would have understand the value that I add to companies, and I would have been able to bring that to interviews and networking opportunities. But let me share the story first. We can get all into all of those things in later videos and the content that I plan to share. So let's start with where I was. I was in tech and successfully launched out of college into a Fortune 500 company working for them. And then I met my husband, and he was stationed in San Diego. I was in Houston at the time, so I moved. And that's kind of the story. If you're a military spouse, you're like, yep, I know that. I moved. That's the story. I moved. And I was able to land in tech when I first got into the San Diego area. But then we moved into somewhere a little bit more rural, where this was before remote jobs were even a possibility. I had kind of asked my previous company, would it work? And they're like, no. So it wasn't on the radar. It wasn't anything that anybody was doing. So I ended up working for my church as administrator assistant, vastly underemployed for where I was at that time. And then we added kids, and then we moved again. So it's kind of, I had a professor once tell me, if you're out of tech for more than 18 months, then you're obsolete. And I made the mistake of believing that and thinking that I could never go back into tech. So over the years, I kind of did a little contract web design for exactly one time. And then we homeschooled our children. And during that time, I became a cake decorator. And I like to joke that cake decorating led me into personal training, because I started running at that point, realizing I was inspiring other people and wanted to give back to the community. Did some network marketing after that, so kind of learned how to go for no a lot more on the sales side. And then my husband was kind of like, hey, what do you really want to do? And I started looking at just job posts, started reading them, and realized that I still had a lot of the same skills that were valuable in tech. I just needed to refresh the technology. So what I did is I went and enrolled in community college. And that was great, because it kind of told me, oh, I've still got it. I still was valuable, and the skills were there, and I still was top of the class, various indicators like that. And I started going to the club there, cybersecurity club, because that's what I was trying to get into. And as things were picking up there, and I started having calls with even employers, my husband got recruited, and we ended up moving to the Seattle area. And that's where I'm like, yep, things get going with military spouses, and we move, you guessed it. So from there, though, I learned about organizations like Operation Code, where they help transitioning military veterans and military spouses with mentorship and kind of giving. We went to different companies in the area, so I got to see, the Facebook headquarters and Google and Oracle and Expedia, but each of those opportunities gave me a chance to. I wouldn't say they gave me a chance to excel, but they gave me a chance to learn valuable lessons. So I did learn what not to do when giving resumes. I learned about, I got advice, and I met people and started seeing the same faces over and over again. So I would encourage you, if you're a military spouse or anyone trying to work right now, if there are in-person networking events, they would say, we said in network marketing, eat the frog and go do it anyway. It's scary. Yes, it's scary at first. I'll talk about that in other videos, but just do it anyway. That's where the opportunity really unfurled. The previous schooling that I had, I did manage to get some certifications in networking. So when I was at the Operation Code event, one day somebody stood up and I was like, hey, if there are any military spouses in here, I'd like to talk to you later. So I almost ran to that guy, walked very, very fast to that guy. And I said, hi, I'm a military spouse. I want to know what opportunity is there. And he said, you don't happen to have any networking certifications, do you? And my whole face lit up. I'm like, yes, I do. I have Network Plus. And he did a sigh of release. He's like, okay, Microsoft is doing this thing, and we're looking for pilot people to be part of it. And within the next, and he's like, but it's starting soon, so we need the certifications. I got him, I can prove it. So from there, I went through the interview process and did get accepted into that program. And that's one of the things I want to talk about too for military spouses, is there are a lot of programs out there if you don't know about them, then contact your local USO office. They usually have pathfinders or career finders that can help you with that process, because that was vital for me. And if you're not a military spouse and you're watching this, I want to encourage you to the in-person networking can still make a difference. It can still show you those opportunities that aren't posted. They can let you know about what's coming up, maybe internships, things like that. So just because this one thing happened to me, I used to say, wow, I got really lucky. And I'm not saying that I didn't, but I do know it was that moment where preparation met opportunity and I was ready to run with it. From there, I did get hired into Microsoft. And now I give back to the communities and doing mentorship and helping other military spouses that come along. So my Cinderella story had a whole lot of bumps. That schooling that I did was fantastic, but it definitely took more time. And had I realized how much networking, both in person and online, were pivotal, I would have been focusing so much more on that. And that's why this channel exists, is to make sure you get that understanding and how you can bridge those gaps a lot faster and hopefully have success a lot quicker. So if you want to learn more about that, then follow this account, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in more videos. Thanks for hanging with me.